Comedy of Terrors. It's a play what I wrote about 10 years ago, a little ago, longer than that?
11.
Yes, we first did it about 2003. And then we suddenly got asked to do it again about 3 years ago, and we suddenly thought, no, we will have to do it in wheelchairs. We're too old. We can't do it. Speak for yourself, she says. I always wanted, I love farce, and Rumpus Theatre Company has done, we do a whole wide range of things, but we've done lots of sort of farces like Ray Cooney and Fado and all the sort of traditional farces, which is great fun. But when we were touring round, it's quite nice to keep the cast down a little bit, so I wanted to try and write a farce for 2 people, you see. And so this is, and we'd also got the reputation for doing gothic horror plays. Okay. So.
How do we mix the
two?
Were you
ever in a gothic horror one for me? I don't know.
No, I did comedy, John.
Yes, I know. Pit and the Pendulum and Jack the Ripper. The Ripper Files, which was here last year. And in fact, Pit and the Pendulum came to the Key Theatre a few years ago.
Fantastic.
But so this was sort of kind of an attempt to combine the two, if you see what I mean. Combine the two. If you see what I mean. But in a farce, you have to have lots of people running along and getting confused and bumping into each other. And thinking they're somebody who they're not. So Sue has to play identical twins, and I have to play 3 identical brothers, which is, farce is absurd anyway, so it's all a bit of a laugh, really. So it's set in a theatre. In fact, it's set in whatever theatre you're actually in. Okay. Which one are we in now?
We're in the Key Theatre, Peterborough.
That's exactly where we are, yes. And a certain actress who's called
Jo Smith
comes along to do an audition, so she thinks, for a director called Vivian Jones. But actually, it's been set up secretly by Vivian's brother, Beverly. Beverly and Vivian, their mother really wanted a girl. He tricked into coming here, and he wants her to impersonate her twin sister, who is called
Fiona Smith.
Who is a
lady of the night.
Yes, well, she's the black sheep of the family.
She's the black sheep, yes. That's
her. To try and persuade Vivian that Beverly didn't have an affair with Fiona. So Joe's going to pretend...
confused yet?
I am.
We get totally confused.
I bet.
And so, but Vivian is also a member of the local Sons of Satan Devil Worshipping Society. They're not a very good member, really.
Not really.
They don't do anything but talk and read about it, really. But he suddenly finds this opportunity when he uncovers the whole plot that he's going to use Joe as his first human sacrifice. But what's strange about it is, or lovely about it, is the dialogue is quite sort of, sort of quite short lines talking, and often we just forget we're just talking to each other and we sort of just go into our own conversation.
As long as you've got the rhythm, it doesn't really matter what we're saying.
All the changes are so quick. Well, what are the differences between Fiona and Joe?
Joe's being the actress, so she talks. Well, she talks like I do, really. She talks, she's quite down to earth. Has quite a low register. Whereas Fiona's, she's a bit of an idiot as well, actually. But she's got more of a Cockney lilt, really. She's a bit like that, really, isn't she, Fiona?
She is.
So Fiona and Beverly really do deserve each other.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but the because people are rushing on and off, and you sort of walk off there, and the other character's got to come on there ever so quickly. The costume changes, so you've got your sort of basic costume.
Basic costume, and all I do, I have loose hair for Joe, and Fiona has her hair tied back. It's as simple as that.
And the sheer power of your acting.
Sheer power of my acting convinces everyone that I'm 2 different people.
And Beverly's just there in his sort of suit.
Yeah.
And but when Vivian, he always wears a red handkerchief, you see, so you know that it's him.
The character of Jo she's an actress, and just a jobbing actress, really. She's probably a bit naive. She just gets a random text to say come to the theatre for an audition, and she just goes and assumes it's from her agent, and then finds out it's not from her agent, and then finds out that she's effectively trapped in an empty theatre with a man she's never met before.
He's very nice.
He is very nice, yeah, but he might not be. So she's probably just a bit, slightly clueless in that respect, whereas Fiona is a little bit downtrodden and put upon, but probably has had a fiery past, we've decided, haven't we?
I think so.
She's left home at 15 and she's gone off and tried to do her own thing and not really done terribly well, and but she's a bit naive as well in a lot of respects, but rather sweet considering she's her profession.
Oh, lovely.
She's very
just an accident, really.
Bless her heart. Yeah, you do feel very sorry for Fiona. She gets put upon by quite a lot of people, I think, doesn't she? Bless her.
But Beverly, I think, is just. I mean, he's well intentioned, but he's just a bit of a. he just takes the easy course. I think he's always going for the easy way, because he's got this lovely fiancée called Cheryl. You see, who both the brothers Vivian and Beverly. I think they just fought as kids. That's what the policeman brother says anyway. They were like this as kids, you know. But so there's a bit of rivalry for this Cheryl, you see, and. But she's an air hostess, obviously, and she gets stranded on this remote jungle island in the Pacific, all communications down. Which actually, if anybody really wants to look for it, is a little parallel with the comedy of errors, as opposed to the comedy of terrors, that somebody gets marooned on a
desert island.
It's there if you want it, but you don't have to have it. So while she's away, you see, Beverly sort of just falls into having this sort of fling with Fiona, and then Vivian finds out and he's going to tell Cheryl about it. And that's how it all. But Vivian is, he thinks he's quite a nasty man, really. He's quite a sort of ruthless theatre director, but he's just as soft as Beverly is, really. I think the most together of them all is Janet.
Yes, Janet is.
Janet, I've just given away that Janet is the name of the third brother, because the mother gave up all pretense by that time. But he finds it very helpful in undercover operations, doesn't he? I've acted in a few plays that I've written myself, and in one sense it should be easy because I wrote it, so I should find it really easy to learn the lines, but I don't. I mean, it's rather galling, really, when as an actor I sit down to learn somebody else's lines. It's that's a real slog, and as you get older it's even more of a slog. But it's just the same if you've written it yourself. But I suppose that in a sense the rhythms are there, and if I do forget it and try to make it up, I usually make it up in the same sort of way as I would have written it in the first place. I think that's the only
bit of creative license.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it has a certain rhythm to it.
It does,
play,
yes.
This is it. We have been out. We've been doing what we've called the Rumpus Comedy Spring Rep Tour. Very grand name for. We were doing two plays. We've been doing the Comedy of Terrors, which we're doing here at the Key Theatre in Peterborough tonight, Tuesday, tomorrow, 2 shows, afternoon and evening, and Thursday in the evening. So come along. We've been to Greenwich with the Comedy of Terrors, and who's been to Chesterfield and Middlesbrough. So we've been all over. But in a sense, this is the climax. So yes.